Good afternoon from the Circus Sports of the Mid-Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Ross Johnston. In Titans news, there have been some coordinator interviews scheduled. Jeremy Fowler reports that Steelers offensive coordinator Arthur Smith has already spoken with the Titans for the offensive coordinator position, and Cowboys defensive line coach Aaron Whitecotton has been requested to interview for the defensive coordinator position. Also, Josina Anderson reports that the Titans are requesting to interview Bears defensive backs coach Al Harris for the defensive coordinator position as well. In college hoops action, number 15 Vanderbilt heads to Mississippi State tomorrow as they try to bounce back from a 3-game skid. Tip-off is set for 11 a.m. in Starkville. Also, Tennessee heads to Tuscaloosa to face the number 17 ranked Crimson Tide tomorrow night. Tip-off is set for 7:30 p.m. And per On3 Sports, Alabama head coach Nate Oates said that Charles Bediako will play in that game. Lastly, conference championship weekend is here as the Patriots and Broncos face off first on Sunday with kickoff set for 2 p.m. in Denver, followed by the Rams and Seahawks who face off in Seattle with kickoff set for 5:30 p.m. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. And we're broadcasting live from the 104.5 The Zone Circus Sports Studio. Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circus Sports at Kentucky Downs. And Blaine, it looks like we're all just kind of waiting for the Buffalo Bills to hire Phillip Rivers at this point, and before the Tennessee Titans can hire offensive coordinator Brian Daboll. But so today, the Bills are interviewing Mike McDaniel. Tomorrow, they're interviewing both Anthony Weaver and Anthony Lynn. All three of these are in person, so they will have met the Rooney Rule by the end of Saturday, but they still have on Sunday Grant Udinski, and they're also interviewing Phillip Rivers today, like I said at the top. But it seems like I don't know if the Tennessee Titans are necessarily waiting around for Brian Daboll's answer, but it seems like if you want Brian Daboll, I guess you have to wait for the Bills to name a head coach. Does that sound about, or at least let Brian Daboll know he's out of the running?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm assuming that he's first on the list. Has there been any other OCs?
Just Joe Brady. So
for the Titans?
Oh, for the Titans, Arthur Smith was announced that they
had a conversation
or talked. It wasn't necessarily an interview, so I'm beginning to wonder.
Said spoke with.
Yeah. So now I'm beginning to wonder: do the interviews for head coaches count towards OCs? Because that's one thing I couldn't find clarity on anywhere in the NFL rules. So now I kind of wonder, like, do the people they interviewed for head coach also count double as OCs? Or is this just like, hey, if we don't get Brian Daboll, we may be going after you? I'm sure they're not saying that. You don't want to make anybody feel like your second choice. But I don't know. So far, just Art Smith and Brian Daboll have been the two most linked names with at least some modicum of communication between those people on the team. So I would assume that maybe Art Smith is second for the Tennessee Titans. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd be a fan favorite just with his relationship with the organization. And actually, where would you rank him as far as offensive coordinators with the Titans over this? Yeah, man, I don't know. He has to be up there with him and Tannehill, but they did pretty good. Well, for LaFleur.
Yeah.
LaFleur.
Well, LaFleur was still around like the 18-15 range across the NFL. But when you talk about Art's time here, he was in the top 5. Yeah. And so of NFL offensive coordinators or NFL offenses, I should say.
Right.
So obviously LaFleur is the better play caller now, but here at the Tennessee Titans, what you're asking, I would say Art Smith was better. And outside of maybe Heimerdinger, probably the best. I think that would be the conversation, right? Heimerdinger versus Smith, and I would lean Smith.
Well, it's hard to say.
Yeah, different eras of football.
Different style, and it's always about the Jimmies and the Joes.
Yeah.
So, the rankings to me, it's more philosophical about what they do than actually where the rankings put them. It's to say who's the best. So I don't know if you say Arthur Smith, naturally I'm gonna go with Heimerdinger, but because he was my era. But I don't know. There's something about LaFleur that I actually like a lot, and it really became that for me when he and the development of Malik Willis, they both continually get better, and how he catered his offense. And I'm a big proponent of that.
You're right.
As I've mentioned before numerous times, about coaches who can model their offense or defense around the skill sets of the actual players.
Yeah, LaFleur
so to me,
better.
Right.
Do you think he was a better Titans one? Because I remember Deion Lewis, Derrick Henry, whole deal. Well, I know some of that may be
some
Vrabel.
Of that's not on him. Well, Vrabel wanted to trade Derrick Henry, so people need to know that.
Yeah.
So there's a whole bunch of other things outside of that. But just scheme itself, I think I liked his scheme and his system, me personally, and probably more so because every game it looked a little bit different. Now, was it inconsistent at that time? Absolutely. There were some games you go, oh, man. Well, if you have Derrick Henry, who's a bona fide Hall of Fame player, you have a really good, solid quarterback. I mean, and then you got the play action pass. It becomes a little bit easier to manifest what you're trying to accomplish. Then you had A.J. Brown, right? He was with A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
Okay,
yep,
so
both years.
I think, and they've proven over this time, those two players.
Don't forget, you had Jonnu Smith there as well.
Smith, who was hitting his prime. So
Corey Davis was your number two.
Yeah, so I think it was just probably a little bit easier, but I'm not going to take anything away with Arthur Smith. Reason why I think I would put LaFleur, because LaFleur continues to elevate his offense.
Yes.
And I see Arthur Smith, who is changing with the talent, but he's not getting the same production.
I don't feel like his offense has evolved.
Right. See, so
where are the new wrinkles that you learned from other people? It looks like he's taken the Tennessee offense that he had here, put it in Atlanta, put it in Pittsburgh, and you're going to get some results because that offense, when it has really good players, is really good. But when it has average players, it's kind of an average offense.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to go with. Like Pitts. Why didn't Pitts excel? He's much more talented than Jonnu Smith. So then those are the things I just start saying, why aren't we having the same kind of production with actually better players?
Right.
So now you can't say that with the Steelers. Offense. And I think if you talk to anybody down there, they did not like the offense. Now, you got to look at what you're playing with. I mean, an average Aaron Rodgers with Metcalf as well as the only weapon, at least this last year. And then they had, Pickens, on the previous years, who was up and down with his time with the Steelers. Now, with the Cowboys, he was very consistent. I think he was a 1,300-yard receiver. So you say, why couldn't they get that out of him while he was there?
Yeah. I also kind of look at it this way. I've seen a couple people say he got more out of Aaron Rodgers than his time at the Jets.
But that's not the
That's not true. But that's also not true.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
It's
all because he got injured, and then the next year,
right. But if you compare the 2024 Jets season where he played and the 2025 Pittsburgh season, now the 2024 Jets season, that's his first season back from injury. So that is very important to note. He took 40 sacks that year versus 29 sacks. That's also important to note. But when you look at the stats itself, like 4.8 touchdown percentage each season, 1.9 interception rate to 1.4 interception rate in Jets versus Pittsburgh. They 6.7 yards per attempt at both places. The
so you're somewhat similar.
Yards per game, same. The QBR, 44.7 versus 44.3.
But the perception is that he was worse with the Jets.
Right. And that's not necessarily true.
See, and the stats even back that up.
Yeah.
It's somewhat similar.
I mean, we saw it all last year, too. We knew that the Aaron Rodgers that the Pittsburgh Steelers were getting wasn't really going to make them Super Bowl contenders, but they were going to make them playoff contenders. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of people, when the whole Aaron Rodgers with the Jets think, when Robert Saleh was there because of the defense, they kind of went a little bit over their skis on Super Bowl team with Aaron Rodgers. And I know he got injured and everything, but also that's a little bit of New York bias. But the 2024 Jets Aaron Rodgers is the same as the 2025 Art Smith Aaron Rodgers. And just so kind of everybody knows, remember Todd Downing was the offensive coordinator for the Jets and got about the same out of him as Art Smith got out of him.
Mm-hmm. Hey,
I would almost.
So Art Smith was.
I'm just saying, I think Art Smith is fine.
I think that's a safe place, a landing spot.
Yeah.
But I want to see if we can get a little bit better. I'm hoping we get Dayball, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
I know what he did here at Tennessee skews a lot of blood, and I love what he did here at Tennessee.
No doubt.
That was also 5 seasons ago now, about to be 6 seasons ago. And the problem is in the NFL, you have to adapt and evolve and learn something. And I'm sure he's learned some stuff, but when you look at other guys and what they may do or change or add to or tweak because they've been around different coaches and have different ideas, I don't feel like you're getting that with Art. And again, I think he's a very average offensive coordinator. And listen, very average is way better than what you've had the last few years, ever since he left, to be honest.
No doubt.
So it's a safe floor to your point, but we're also, it's kind of like for me with, I got in this discussion about like, should they have kept Luke Stalker? And I'm like, well, if you can upgrade Luke Stalker, upgrade him. If you like Luke Stalker, you like him, right? Like, and same with players. You can have fine players and average players, but if you have a chance to upgrade. And it feels like the Titans, at least by the names being thrown out, has a chance to upgrade. So I feel like you should take advantage of that and not settle if you have that opportunity. But I will say, I think there's a difference between Art Smith without Mike Munchak and Art Smith with Mike Munchak that kind of tips the scales a little bit for me. Not saying he can, but if Mike Munchak will come back to the Tennessee Titans because of Art Smith or with Art Smith because they have a working relationship and all that kind of stuff, I'm in. I'd be more willing to settle for the little bit of, I guess, averageness that comes with Art Smith, but I still am kind of a Brian Daboll, Cliff Kingsbury kind of guy. Like Art, out of the names mentioned, Art would be there for me with Bobby Slowick. Like, okay, I mean, I think that's fine, a hire, but not a exceptional needle-moving hire.
Well, it'd be with the fan base, but
yeah.
What I can say is all of them are all qualified.
It's a
some
very
you
good
like
list.
more than others, but I think at worst case scenario, if you had to go down the list and you want to get an average, offensive coordinator in the National Football League, I think you'll feel like you can't go wrong, that you have some good options.
Yeah, I mean, the options, at least Tom Pelissero tweeted out yesterday, Cliff Kingsbury, Art Smith, Brian Daboll, Adam Stinovich, Bobby Slowick are among the potential options. But those names right there are all pretty good names I'd be willing to take a bet on, or at least saying all those names provide you safe floors. Some of those provide you higher ceilings. And I would be fine with really any of those names. I'm not going to be one of those guys that's, I can't believe they hired him. But there is, every one of them has a drawback. Every one of them has positives. And really, that's a pretty good list of offensive coordinators in my mind. And Bobby Slowick's interviewing with the Eagles today, so we should throw that out there.
With Art, too, like, just watching them this year, I think the best thing he did, which has kind of always been his baby, was they figured out a way to get the run game going with Gainwell and Warren. But you're watching the pass game just not evolve all season, really. Not saying he's the only one a part of that. They don't have the best weapons and whatnot.
Right.
But that's just, I feel like that's the area where it leaves more to be desired, and that could worry me with Cam. But I just don't know if it's the best match for what we've got going on here right now.
Is there any connection with Dayball to Saleh at any point in time outside of them playing or coaching against each other?
Nope, that's about it. Just being in New York at the same time.
Right,
that's about it. Yeah,
enjoying that experience.
Yeah, who know they may have been part of some kind of New York football support group up there.
I know they usually have joint training camp practices together, Jets and the Giants.
NFC, AFC.
But that's about it, I guess.
Yeah. Other than that, they have not worked together at any of the stops. Now, obviously, Dayball has crossed over with Borgonzi at certain points with Kansas City for 1 year, but that's about the. I'd have to look to see if Dan Sagany, Reggie McKenzie, or Dave Ziegler. Dave Ziegler's been with the Patriots for a while, so he may have crossed paths with Dayball there. Reggie McKenzie, I can't think of anywhere that they would have crossed paths, but there was a time because I think Reggie came to Miami later. And then Dan Saganey in Cleveland, because I know Dayball was in Cleveland. I don't know where that would have started either if they would have intertwined. So there could be some other connections there we're not thinking of, but coaching connection, no.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it didn't matter with Matt Nagy, right?
It did not matter.
That's what I said by going by the connection. Sometimes it works out that way, and sometimes not, because they may know something that other people don't know. So I think we have some better options. So it kind of worked out a way. But all signs did point to Nagy, except for Ross. He didn't want Nagy.
I went over there and made some things shake out that night.
I mean,
I said he interviewed for the Eagles too as well. I think.
It was Eagles,
was it
right?
Eagles?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. See,
so he's everywhere. I mean, like he's getting some interviews out there.
I don't know, man. He may have to go back to quarterback coach. It's going to be tough sledding.
Yeah, he may have to.
So he could take a demotion.
I don't know. There's 14 offensive coordinator positions out there, but a lot of offensive coordinators available as well, like potential offensive coordinators. It will be interesting to see where this cycle kind of lands up on this. I mean, at the end of the day, it really seems like the Titans can do no wrong, at least at the offensive coordinator position. Do you find it weird that they are going ahead and deciding who to keep and who not to keep off the staff without an offensive coordinator in place? Like they're keeping Luke Stocker and keeping Randy Jordan is what they've said. Do you find that a little weird? I'm not saying that's a bad thing, good thing, or anything. I just find it odd that what if Brian Daboll has guys that he wants to bring in?
We'll talk about that after the break.
All right, there you go. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
You might not know this, but there's auto repair company that pays its mechanics more than the repair shops that you know of in this area and pay the highest price, of course. Hey, it's Blaine Bishop here at Eurofix. And why would Eurofix do that? A decent technician can make up to 50 to 60 grand a year, and a good technician that's pretty fast can make up to $120,000 a year, and a really, really fast technician who's really, really good can make up to $140,000, and a really, really, really good one, $180,000 a year. Can you believe that? And a lot of people look down on mechanics, and they shouldn't. Local owner Aaron Stokes is an ex-mechanic, and mechanics are what make the world go round. Everything out there has to be worked on. So did you know Eurofix is not open on the weekends? And why? Because Eurofix wants the kids, mom and dad, and employees to have weekends together and not be apart. And Aaron Stokes figured out a long, long time ago, if home life is happy, then you'll be happy. If not, if home life is unhappy, you will be unhappy as well. So that's why Eurofix is open Monday through Friday. And European vehicles fixed at below dealer pricing with a 3-year, 36,000-mile nationwide warranty on all repairs, and Eurofix performs. 5 locations all over the state of Tennessee and more to come. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can check them out online at myeurofix.com. That's myeurofix.com.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. And it's Friday. That means we're going to go around the NFL with Jordan Dajani of CBS Sports. And Jordan, we're going to start off with the biggest news of the week. Phillip Rivers interviewing with the Buffalo Bills. What is going on with that? Is this a serious interview? I mean, obviously they're taking the time to do it, but the way that the national media guys like Ian Rappaport, Schefter, Fowler, all those guys are covering it, it's like this makes so much sense as to why Phillip Rivers, high school quarterback or high school coach, will be now considered the head coach for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, what's going on, guys? Thanks for having me back on the show. I remember writing this article after NFL Network reported maybe a month or 2 months ago that Phillip Rivers was going to have some kind of interest during this head coaching cycle. And with them putting out that report, I did anticipate Phillip Rivers to get at least one interview with the franchise, as crazy as that sounds. But NFL.com previously pointed out that Phillip Rivers' return to the league this year introduced him to this new generation of players and reestablished some of those NFL connections as well. And I think it's important to note that he's held in such high regard by the league as a whole. I mean, you saw him directing traffic pre-snap as a grandfather off the street with the Indianapolis Colts. It was wildly impressive relatively. So I'm inclined to believe it is somewhat real. I don't know if I'm ready to pencil him in as the favorite to win the Bills job, but I will tell you it was a gamble to fire Sean McDermott, so they might be willing to take a gamble and hire someone like Phillip Rivers.
Well, before we get to the Tennessee Titans, let's talk about that Sean McDermott firing and the Terry Pagula press conference where they just totally not only just threw him under a bus, but probably threw him in front of a train talking about Keon Coleman. Like, what is your whole perception of what's going on with the Buffalo Bills? Has Sean McDermott been shielding everybody from the secret dysfunction of the Buffalo Bills? Is this like a him just hiding the weirdness that is the Buffalo Bills?
Yeah, I will tell you, it's pretty incredible that the Bills owner comes out and says that he fired his coach because his team was sad after a playoff loss and because the coach drafted Keon Coleman. Like, how does that come across to prospective free agents that Buffalo wants to target? How do those comments come off to a potential coach as well? So I'm inclined to say stock down on the Bills job just because of how ridiculous that embarrassing press conference was. But in regards to the firing of Sean McDermott, he went 98-50, I think, in 9 seasons as Buffalo's head coach. He went 8-8 in his 8 playoff appearances, and those 8 playoff wins are the most by a head coach without a Super Bowl appearance. And I think that's ultimately what did him in. The one thing that I kind of made sense of with Terry Pagula during his press conference was talking about how he feels like his team hit a proverbial playoff wall. And I don't know if that's true. I can tell you if I was in control of the Buffalo Bills, I'm more worried about the general manager and some of the personnel makeup with my roster instead of the coaching with Sean McDermott, because I do believe McDermott is regarded as one of the better coaches in the NFL. But you know what the Bills are trying to do here is fire their Tony Dungy for their John Gruden, or fire their Mark Jackson and find their Steve Kerr, if you will. They want to find someone who's even better that can potentially get them over the hump. So again, I think it's a massive gamble. It's not a decision I would have made, but we'll just have to see what happens.
So the Tennessee Titans hire Robert Saleh as their head coach. What do you think about his time with the Jets? And what should maybe be some of the things that you hope that he had learned from his time to the Jets that's going to be here at the Tennessee Titans?
So let me say this. I think that Robert Saleh is a retread that is deserving of a second chance. There's no doubt about it. But it almost feels like this hire is incomplete because whoever the offensive coordinator is going to determine how the fan base feels moving forward. Because if the Titans go, let's say, the Washington Commanders route and hire a 30-year-old kid who has never been a coordinator before and never called plays, that's not going to feel very good. But if you get someone like a Brian Dable or Cliff Kingsbury, that's going to feel a lot better. Now, in regards to Robert Saleh as the coach, I think that even Robert Saleh haters have to admit that he's probably one of the best defensive minds in the NFL. He's clearly the emotional leader that you want as well. As either a defensive coordinator or a head coach, Saleh has put together a top 5 defense in 5 out of 9 seasons in the NFL. That's absolutely remarkable. At the same time, when it comes to his time with the Jets, for me personally, it's really tough to get the image of a helpless Saleh on the sideline for 4 years, just powerless to help the team he's leading. And obviously that doesn't give off these CEO vibes, if you will. And while he was working with a generationally bad quarterback with Zach Wilson, I feel like part of that was kind of his fault. He hired the offensive staff that was inept, and I thought Zach Wilson had way too long of a leash in New York as well. So I think when it comes to the offensive coordinator hire, I would really want it to be someone who's not only done the job before, but maybe been a former head coach as well.
We're talking Jordan Dajani of CBS Sports. We're going around the NFL with him.
Well, Jordan, I'm going to act like as though that you are Robert Saleh, right? And I want you to explain to me why Ben Johnson, Liam Cohen, Mike Vrabel, DeMeco Ryans, and whoever else you want to add to the list. How come they had success in their first year?
How come they had success in their first year? Well,
as head coach.
I would probably point to the quarterbacks that had in place. That would be the biggest thing in my opinion. And I think they put together really good coaching staffs as well that made an immediate impact for some of your blind spots when you're a lead man as well. The hiring of a head coach is not just about the head coach and the person in charge, but about the staffs they're able to put together, not only to run the opposite side of the ball, but to develop playmakers in the building as well. So when it comes to hiring a head coach, whether you're a first-year guy, whether you're a veteran like a Mike McCarthy, it really comes down to the staff and the leaders you're bringing in your building.
Completely agree with that. With that being said, who's available as far as offensive coordinators? Who do you think Saleh or is the best fit would hire, or who is the best fit with Cam Ward, by the way?
Yeah, that's a good question. I have a lot of names here in front of me. So I mentioned someone like Brian Dable. I mentioned a Cliff Kingsbury as well. Arthur Smith, I'm sure you guys have talked about. And another name I would probably add to that list would be Bobby Slowick. We can dive into some of those guys if you want. But I'll reiterate that my bottom line is I need someone coming in who's not only called plays before, but has good experience doing so as well, that I can turn to as basically the head coach for the offensive side of the ball to make sure that not only the franchise is on track, but the development of my number one overall pick at quarterback is on track as well.
If you had to rank those guys you just talked about there on the OC side of it, I guess give us a ranking of them, and then who, I guess, kind of explain the differences or the things that are the same within their offense.
Sure. Okay. So it's crazy to say this, but I might be leaning to Brian Dable at number one. When I think about Brian Dable, I feel like he's run a lot of different offenses, right? There were some pretty evident differences from the Bills to Alabama to the Giants, even though things fell apart with New York with the offensive line play. With Alabama, he was running the ball. With the Bills, he had a high-powered passing attack. And with the Giants, it was a lot of quick-read RPO stuff that I think was predicated with some of the deficiencies, not only with the quarterback play, but with the offensive line as well. When it comes to Cliff Kingsbury, that's a little further down on my list. He's not number one because I feel like he's someone who is really shooting to be a head coach as soon as possible. But more so, he also hasn't had a really good track record of established success. He's been able to come in and have 1 year of really good success, but he's been unable to adjust to other opposing defensive coordinators and been able to have that long-term success. So I wonder if he's kind of a one and done if he were to be in Tennessee. Plus, how is Cliff Kingsbury going to run an offense with a quarterback who's not a dual threat athlete? I've never seen that before. That's something to talk about as well. Arthur Smith, we know what Arthur Smith is, right? Arthur Smith is someone who's going to run the ball, open up the passing attack off of play action with some vertical concepts. We all understand what Arthur Smith is. Maybe it's not the most exciting potential hire in the world, but I do think at this stage, with the experience he brings, it is something I would take.
Now, Arthur Smith, how is he viewed with your team, the Pittsburgh Steelers? And then who will be the next head coach there, by the way, if you had to guess?
Yeah, it's interesting because your quarterback is Aaron Rodgers, and I always wonder how much of Aaron Rodgers is actually being the offensive coordinators with the checks he's making at the line of scrimmage, with what he wants in 2-minute drill, with his game plan at large. How much power does Aaron Rodgers have in what everyone assumed was going to be his final NFL season? But I mean, we saw a lot of Arthur Smith concepts, right? We saw a lot of the running of the ball, using the running backs as pass targets, and using tight ends a bunch. There's no doubt about it. So I don't think that Arthur Smith is the most popular man in Pittsburgh, and I would assume he's probably somewhere else, especially given Art Rooney's comments. I don't know if you saw his press conference a few weeks ago, but he was asked a question saying, is it possible your future head coach is in the building? And he basically said, no, I don't think we're going to be promoting anybody to head coach, which of course takes Arthur Smith out of the mix. Now, real quickly, for who Pittsburgh might land on, I'm looking at Mike McCarthy. That's a Pittsburgh boy. That's someone who's very experienced. And I understand that goes against all the hires that the Steelers have made in the past. I think the past 3 hires the Steelers have made have been defensive coordinators in their 30s with 0 head coaching experience. That's the opposite of someone like Mike McCarthy. But I would look at him or maybe Chris Shula as being the next face of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, naturally, I have to ask you, at least I'm going to ask you about this one of the games that is going to be played, and that is the Patriots versus the Broncos in Mile High. How do you see this playing out with the backup quarterback there instead of being the starter? Does that help or hurt them in this matchup at home with that defense they have?
Yeah, I will say I'm kind of excited for this matchup. I know a lot of people are not with a backup quarterback, but with Sean Payton being your offensive mastermind, he has experience putting some backup quarterbacks in the lineup and finding ways to utilize them and control tempo of the game so it's a little bit closer than anticipated. And that's kind of what I see happening with this game. I think that it's going to be a close game until we get to the fourth quarter and the Patriots finally cover the spread. So I'm taking New England to cover. But Jarrett Stidham, I mean, he's pretty interesting, right? He's going to be the 7th quarterback in NFL history to make his first start of the season in the playoffs. And the last quarterback to do so was actually Taylor Heineke back in that COVID season, I think, when he almost beat Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. But only one of those previous 6 quarterbacks have won. That was Frank Reich back in 1992. So if the Broncos want the upset, there's 2 things that need to happen. It's going to have to be them. The run game has to reappear. I think the Broncos finished bottom 10 in rushing yards per game and yards per rush when J.K. Dobbins went down with his foot injury in week 10. So the run game is going to be incredibly important against this Patriots defense. But furthermore, this Broncos defense is going to have to dictate tempo, and they're very capable of doing so. Vance Joseph's unit has been one of the best defenses in the NFL. We know that Drake Mace had an MVP-type season, but at the same time, they played a pretty easy strength of schedule. So maybe this game is a little bit low scoring than people anticipate. Ultimately, I think Mike Vrabel gets to the Super Bowl.
There you have it, Jordan Dajani, NFL writer.
Jordan, why do you think we haven't heard from Sean McDermott getting any other job interviews? Because I know the timing is not that great, but you would think that a couple of people would at least have already brought him in by now. I mean, it's not unheard of to have someone just go to the second round without having a first-round interview, and especially a guy as accomplished as Sean McDermott. Is there a real chance that he may not even get a head coaching job this cycle and that he could either opt to stay out or go back to be a defensive coordinator for at least 1 year?
Yeah, you ask a really good question, and I say it's a good question because I don't have a great answer. The only thing I can potentially point to is the timing. For example, if the Tennessee Titans were not trying to close out their search and all of a sudden Sean McDermott gets fired, you have to imagine that Tennessee would be interested in at least speaking with him and having him in the mix. But as you guys know, following this search, the Titans have kind of gotten the bad end of the deal with coaches they're supposed to meet with, and all of a sudden they start signing with different teams like John Harbaugh and Jeff Hafley and all of those guys. So I would definitely point to the timing as being the number one factor, with Sean McDermott not exactly being the hottest head coach candidate right now. But there still is time. I'm really interested with what's going to happen with the Arizona Cardinals and the Cleveland Browns, because those 2 specific searches don't seem like they've been really expedited. So could they be open to bringing in someone like Sean McDermott? But you also have to wonder, Sean McDermott, he's going to be looking for a good fit as well. So you can't rule him out sitting out for a year in hopes of finding a better fit in 2027.
All right. NFC South is going to have a lot of beef next year. Kevin Stefanski, Atlanta head coach. Atlanta fans are not happy. He also brought his offensive coordinator, Tommy Reese, who I have a vendetta against from his time at Alabama. And then you have Baker Mayfield in Atlanta, but you also now have Zach Robinson in Atlanta, who was also formerly Zach Robinson in Tampa Bay with Baker Mayfield, who's formerly in Atlanta as offensive coordinator. A lot of beef going on between those 2 teams, but Baker Mayfield added another layer by calling out new Falcons coach Kevin Stefanski. Can't wait to see you twice a year, Coach. What are your thoughts on the Baker Mayfield versus Kevin Stefanski twice a year?
Yeah, first of all, I love these new rivalries in the South, right? We get Robert Saleh versus Liam Cohen twice a year, and now we got Baker Mayfield going up against Kevin Stefanski as well. Zach, when you saw that tweet, I knew you were celebrating, saying, I knew Kevin Stefanski was a bad dude. That's why we should not have hired him. No, but I mean, it is pretty bad for Kevin Stefanski to part ways with Baker Mayfield and basically not give him a call afterwards, thanking him for at least somewhat getting the franchise back on the right track. I mean, Baker Mayfield was instrumental in getting the Browns to 11-5. Their first playoff appearance since 2002, I think, their first playoff win since 1994 or whatever it was. And then, of course, he had an injury-riddled season, and that's when Cleveland made the very aggressive decision to enter the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. So, yeah, I think it looks really bad on Kevin Stefanski for not at least speaking with Baker Mayfield after that dramatic exit. But I think we've also seen some comments from former players or coaches on social media saying that a relationship's a two-way street. And I do remember there being some negative reports centered around Baker Mayfield talking about what seemed like they had the friendliest relationship, I guess we should say, but I would agree with you in that it doesn't look very good for Kevin Stefanski. But what's really good, of course, with Liam Cohen, and that was a good decision because he was so, of course, with Liam Cohen, and that was a good decision because he was so great in year one. But Saleh was reportedly devastated to not get that Jaguars job, and he returned to the 49ers. Then we had that whole thing with the allegations of a legal, again, I'll say it again, legal sign-stealing operation, which Liam Cohen didn't take too kindly to. And then we had that epic confrontation on the field after the Jaguars upset the 49ers, where I wish I could say the words on air. I'm not going to, but Robert Saleh had some epic quotes. And the thing I ended the article with is that, you know, in the NFC North, we looked at Ben Johnson and Matt LaFleur, that epic rivalry, and Ben Johnson of the Bears is leaning into the emotion, the hatred that his team has for the Green Bay Packers. What I would like to see Robert Saleh do is lean into that as well. I don't want him to look back at his comments and say, yeah, that was regrettable, I shouldn't have done that. I almost want him to lean into that emotion because that's what the Titans need. The Titans have gone 6-28 over the last two seasons. They need a spark plug to come in and get this franchise on the right track on and off the field. So that's what I'm hoping we get from the emotional leader that is Robert Saleh.
All right. I was off air yesterday. I was kind of off the grid as well, dealing with some with a little pup needing eye surgery. So I am asking this question because I need to be informed, and maybe our listeners do too. The FBI is investigating a doctor who allegedly supplied pain medication to late Colts owner Jim Irsay. What is going on with this? Because I really don't know the full extent.
Yeah, definitely a sad story. Jim Irsay, of course, had previous situations with his addiction with pain pills and maybe other substances. And while he had told people that he got clean, the Washington Post published this huge, extensive report over the last year saying that he had multiple relapses, but also multiple overdoses as well, and that the Colts were aware of this and people in his life were aware of this as well. But Jim Irsay died in Beverly Hills Hotel in California back in May, and he has this doctor who I cannot pronounce his last name, Harutunian. That's probably not how it's pronounced, but he was the doctor that was overseeing Jim Irsay's treatment at the hotel, and he was actually the one who signed his death certificate stating that the cause of Jim Irsay's death was cardiac arrest caused by pneumonia and heart issues. Now, there was no autopsy performed because according to the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner, the death was not considered sudden or unexpected, so we don't know anything about the toxicology. But there are people that were close to Jim Irsay during the late stages of his life that were surprised by the amount of pills and also ketamine that was prescribed to Jim Irsay by this doctor. So now the FBI is looking into the doctor as well as the nature of the death of Mr. Irsay.
All right. Give us your picks for the weekend. We got Patriots and Broncos and Rams versus Seahawks.
Yeah, so I gave you Patriots over Broncos. When it comes to the NFC, this is going to be obviously the game of the weekend. Everyone's going to take the Seahawks because this defense has been the best defense in the NFL. I understand that. But you guys know me. I've been riding with the Rams this entire time, so I'm sticking with L.A. While the Seahawks defense has been fantastic, I will point out to you guys that in what was probably the game of the year last month in Seattle, that Rams offense dropped 581 yards of total offense and 37 points on the Seahawks defense back in December. So ultimately it comes down to me trusting Matthew Stafford and that incredible cast of weapons that includes Kyron Williams, Blake Corum, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, Terrence Ferguson, Colby Parkinson, all these guys, trusting them more than I trust Sam Darnold, who's not going to have Zach Charbonnet either. If I have to further my case, I will say that the historical trends do point in my favor and favor of the Rams as well. The Rams are 2-0 all-time versus the Seahawks in the playoffs, and the Rams have won 4 straight NFC Championship game appearances as well. They know Sam Darnold well. They've game planned for him in fantastic fashion in recent history as well. So I'm sticking with the Rams with an upset. It's going to be a fantastic game.
There you have it. Jordan Dajani of CBS Sports. We went around the NFL with him. Jordan, stay warm, but hold on, Blaine's got one more question.
Yeah, we've been asked about MVP. Now we have the 5 finalists. Who do you think will win it?
It absolutely needs to be Matthew Stafford, in my opinion. Led the NFL in passing yards, led the NFL in passing touchdowns, led the NFL in touchdown interception ratio. The only other player to lead the NFL in all 3 of those categories was Tom Brady in 2007, which was arguably his best season as well. So every quarterback that has thrown 45 touchdowns and fewer than 10 picks in a season has won MVP. Why would that change now?
There you go. All right, Jordan Dajani of CBS Sports. Jordan, stay warm and safe this weekend.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy the snow.
Yeah. All right.
Mageddon.
When we come back, we'll talk more about the Titans offensive coordinator search. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to talk Titans offensive coordinator, Titans staff changes. We got some of those that we'll cover in the show as well. Blaine, you asked a really good question to Jordan Dajani, where I don't know if he heard the part where he told him to be Robert Saleh,
Right.
but your question of, like, you were sitting in the Titans interview and you were like, okay, well, these guys got their first chance and they were good. And you named off Mike Vrabel, D'Amico Ryan, Ben Johnson, Liam Cohen. And you're like, why do you think those guys were good? And I think that's a really interesting question with a lot of layers, because you can easily point to quarterback. But is that the whole story? Because to be honest, Robert Saleh, I've heard that Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas from some media up in New York, they had Sam Darnold at the time, and they just did not want to give Sam Darnold a chance. And so them two together agreed on that. So they went for Zach Wilson. So, yeah, you could blame Zach Wilson, but you can also blame the decision makers that led you to Zach Wilson. So do you think quarterback is the biggest difference between his success and those successes? Or do you think it's a little bit more of other things around the head coach?
I don't know. What are your thoughts? Because I'm a little perplexed. I'm never one shoe fits all for the same. So they made a decision, and sometimes coaches make that decision because Darnold wasn't having success before they got there, and they go, well, let's start a clean slate with our guy, instead of thinking like I can work with the guy, because then maybe you end up finding out that, he's not the guy. Then you told the owner, I think I can work with him. And then it doesn't work out. But you still, I think, would get a second chance. So, they made a, tough decision. And at the time, they looked right. Yeah. I don't think anybody would disagree with that until he got to Minnesota. I've always liked Sam Darnold. I always thought he was super talented, super skilled.
And people forget how young he was when he came into the league.
He was 20 years old.
Yeah,
he was 20 years old in that New York media.
Yeah.
And he just wasn't ready for that kind of pressure. So, on that kind of stage. So, but you got to just believe in his talent. And the team, around him wasn't all that great either. So, this is just a tough pill. I think, different coaches maybe would have taken a different stance, but, they felt like they needed to start clean and with a new coach. And I get that, because a lot of coaches think that way, whether you're talking about college or pro, So, man.
That's
Sam
a tough
Darnold's
question to ask
you
from
just gotta
his
look at his
perspective.
talent. Because here's what I would have done. I would have sat down with Sam Darnold and asked him questions to see if he was where I needed him to be mentally. His talent is what it is. He's one of the most gifted, talented throwers in the league, really, even at this point. I mean, outside of the superpowers of Matthew Stafford.
Right.
So when you see him, roll out, even this last game, he rolled out left with a, abdomen strain or whatever you want to give the term, and then he threw a strike in the back of the end zone. I mean, it was like, that's unbelievable. He made it look like it's easy. And it's not easy like Wheezy. He is pretty special as a thrower. And so sometimes it just takes some guys a little more time based off of his age to mature to the point where they can handle the type of pressure you're going to be under in the National Football League. So he gets to finish and write the story that he wants based off this season, even in his game, because if not, everybody's going to say that, every time they had, he was in under pressure, he bombed, he flaked. Well, right now, he's rewriting that story.
And what's funny to me is that all the people that did not, that will not recognize the Sam Darnold that was drafted is not the same Sam Darnold that you're seeing. Even the Sam Darnold from last year is not the same Sam Darnold you're seeing. Every time he overcomes one of these, big cons or negatives, like he doesn't show up in big games. Well, he doesn't show up in big games. Well, now he didn't show up in playoff games. Well, now he doesn't show up in championship games, which he's never been part of. Like, well, let's stop moving the goalposts and just call it like it is. Sam Darnold's a top quarterback in this league, and he's shown that.
His kryptonite is the Rams. He's thrown multiple picks against them every time. So we shall see if that changes here. So, but. Yeah, so it's just good to see some of those guys rebound, whether it's Geno Smith, somewhat similar to the same issues, to, now Sam Darnold. There's a lot of guys like that. So just tough. You're in the spotlight, you're the quarterback, and, I just would I would want to ask.
That's a hard question to ask or to answer for Salah's part because he doesn't really know what went on behind the scenes. But you have to be self-reflective and maybe take a little bit more of accountability, and maybe that's the true test of the question.
I wonder if they asked him about, the Douglas and his decision with Sam Darnold.
I would assume they had to, right? Like, I mean, I don't know. It's also a 5-hour conversation, so I don't know what else they got into in that 5-hour conversation. I don't know how much of their research, how much of the questions that they had answered were answered during their research of talking to different people and different players throughout the time. Like, you just don't know, but. I think the quarterback situation up in the Jets would be one of the main questions that I would be asking because you came in with the plan on that place too. And the plan didn't work. And I would want to know why the plan didn't work. Do you really think that's all the quarterback, or do you think maybe the staffing decisions, or maybe it just wasn't a perfect fit, right? It could be both things. It doesn't have to be 100% blame on just one person, but that will show the kind of accountability because that's what the Tennessee Titans players have said they wanted, accountability, right? It's not just accountability for them. Your coach has to be accountable for his own actions as well.
Yeah. So I'd love to know what he also thought of Cam Ward coming out and how much did he study him? And based off of when we played them, what did he think of him?
Yeah.
And what are some of his strengths as well as what is his weaknesses that he sees?
Yeah.
Because it's still going to be on his docket that, the development of Cam Ward is going to go under Salah regardless of whatever happens, even though he wasn't part of the draft process.
Right, but that's what's kind of like with Brian Callahan, right? He was technically, I know he's brought in to be head coach, but one of the main deciding factors to bring in Brian Callahan was his offense and his work with quarterbacks and to get the most out of Will Levis. Did he get the most out of Will Levis? I don't know. It's kind of like Sam Darnold. His career, the story of his career has not been written yet. We didn't see him get the most out of Cam Ward even in the same season.
But to me, this was an easy question to answer: is who did you actually develop?
Right. And
then when you start naming veterans and you got there after they were there, you didn't.
And do you get credit for Joe Burrow? Like, that's the thing that I kind of struggle with is like, don't we think Joe Burrow would have always been Joe Burrow that we see right now, no matter the coach?
Yes.
Yeah. So.
I mean, I think we all agree on that. And so it does become with Robert Saleh. I mean, okay, if you hire Brian Daboll, guy that we saw kind of develop a really bad college quarterback into a MVP level quarterback in Josh Allen. We saw a guy, he got Daniel Jones a second contract, right? I mean, it didn't work out. A lot of injuries, but he got Daniel Jones a second contract. I mean, that's at least two places you can point to where he's kind of done something, unlike what you had with Brian Callahan. Art Smith, he's got the best out of Ryan Tannehill, but he didn't really develop Ryan Tannehill. He never developed anybody in Atlanta. Now, he only really had a chance to develop Desmond Ridder, a third-round pick, and that's drastically different. But he also never really had to develop anybody up in Pittsburgh. So who has he developed? Adam Stanovich. How much? I mean, he's a non-play calling OC. Bobby Sloak, you could say that he's kind of developed C.J. Stroud, even if they hated each other or whatever happened with that whole situation. Cliff Kingsbury, you could look at Jaden Daniels. Now, I mean, obviously, both Jaden Daniels and C.J. Stroud haven't been fully developed, but I mean, they were there ground floor rookie year and both had success. So, again, unlike Brian Callahan, you can, and some of these other guys, Brian Daboll, Cliff, you could see it. Tangible evidence is how I would kind of put it. Let's go to Gorilla in Nashville. Gorilla, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
What's going on, gentlemen? What's going on? No, Blaine. It's more like,
yeah, I didn't want to get too harsh there for Ross.
You did more of the Tarzan thing. No, it's more the King Kong.
Yeah.
Imagine beating your chest. No, but check this out. What you said, Brian, Blaine, about Arthur Smith. What you said, I mean, man, you put that eloquently. It's just spot on. He never developed anyone, and what he had was Derrick Henry and a basic, what do you call it? The Ryan Tannehill halfway did pretty good. Play action.
Yeah.
outside of that right there, man, I'm sorry, guy. He's not good. I don't want Arthur Smith. I'll take the guy we had, Bo over Arthur Smith. Yeah, I'll take him over honestly. I just don't. I don't like his play calling. Anybody could have got it done with A.J. Brown and
Henry and
Henry
Davis.
And you notice when he didn't have that talent, he didn't show up on no level whatsoever.
Always about the talent there, Gorilla.
All right,
Exactly.
thanks.
Hey, man, I'll hang up and hear you guys, man.
Thanks,
Take it
Gorilla.
easy. Have a good weekend. Be safe out there, fellas.
Hey, thank you.
too, yeah.
I can't get behind keeping Bo Hardegree over Art Smith. I mean,
Who did they just let go?
Nick Holtz.
Nick Holtz. Okay.
Yeah.
Have they announced anything about Bo as far as quarterbacks?
Not yet.
Would you keep him there?
Maybe that's one that you're kind of waiting to see what the offensive coordinator wants to do, because maybe that's a little bit
They're
different
pretty
relationship.
hand in hand. Yeah.
But I will say, for the grief that we do give at Art Smith, in 2022, he was 15th in points at Atlanta. And then in 2024 and 2025 with Pittsburgh, he was 16th and 15th in points in those. And those weren't ideal situations. Russell Wilson, Justin Fields. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is not what he once was. He's still probably better than maybe 10 or 15, 12 quarterbacks in the league. But he was still able in 3 of the 5 years after he left to be top 16. So basically above league average in points scored.
What would Aaron as not just in points scored, but a running offense?
In running offense, he was in yards 3rd, 9th, and 11th from 2022 to 2024. So that's 2 stints in Atlanta and 1 stint in Pittsburgh. And then last year, he was, in terms of yards, 26 in rushing yards in 2025.
And where was he at in passing?
In passing, he was pretty much all in the 20s. And see, that's the issue that I have with Art Smith, is that I understand that the quarterbacks are less than desirable without Art Smith, and Cam Ward should be trending in the right direction. But this is also a critical stage of development for the passing game. And is Art Smith the right guy for that? No matter what happened in 2019 and 2020, to be fair, in those years, while you got the best of Ryan Tannehill, they were 21st and 23rd in passing yards. You got to remember, there's a 2,000-yard season from Derrick Henry. Who's your 2,000-yard rusher unless you're drafting Jeremiah Love or something like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just be very careful equating what happened in 2019 and 2020 with those rosters with what could happen with this roster and Art Smith.
Yeah, I think he'd be a consolation prize. I mean, you're trying to get some other ones. If you can't, I think you're comfortable there with Art and see what happens. Yeah.
All right, coming up next, more of your phone calls, 615-737-1045. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 1045 The Zone.
Good afternoon from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Ross Johnston. In Titans news, there have been some coordinator interviews scheduled. Jeremy Fowler reports that Steelers offensive coordinator Arthur Smith has already spoken with the Titans for the position, and Cowboys defensive line coach Aaron Whitecotton has been requested to interview for the defensive coordinator position. Also, Josina Anderson reports that the Titans are requesting to interview Bears defensive backs coach Al Harris for the defensive coordinator position as well. And moments ago, it was reported that the Los Angeles Chargers interviewed Denard Wilson today for their defensive coordinator position. In college hoops action, number 15 Vanderbilt heads to Mississippi State tomorrow as they try to bounce back from a 3-game skid. Tip-off is set for 11 a.m. in Starkville. Also, Tennessee heads to Tuscaloosa tomorrow night to face the number 17 Crimson Tide, with tip-off set for 7:30 p.m. And per On3 Sports, Alabama head coach Nate Oates said that Charles Bediako will play in that game. Lastly, conference championship weekend is here as the Patriots and Broncos face off first on Sunday with kickoff set for 2 p.m. in Denver, followed by the Rams and Seahawks who face off in Seattle with kickoff set for 5:30 p.m. For all your foundation repair, waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans of Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. We've been talking Tennessee Titans offensive coordinator search, but we also want to hear from you. 615-737-1045 is the number. Let's go to Drew in McMinnville. Drew, you're on Blaine and Zach.
What's up, fellas? I love listening to the show. I just want to weigh in on this. As far as the offensive coordinator goes, just please, God, not Arthur Smith. I don't remember the last time he had a decent offense that wasn't handing the ball off to Derrick Henry 400 times. Like, we don't have Derrick Henry. I do not want to see him on the sideline. He cannot develop quarterbacks. I'm not, like the other guy said, he doesn't develop quarterbacks. And like y'all have mentioned, when's the last time he had to? He didn't do it with Desmond Ridder. I have zero faith whatsoever in Arthur Smith, and I don't want Cliff Kingsbury, because if he can't run a quarterback into the ground, he doesn't have a good offense. And I like Cam Ward's legs. It's a weapon, but it doesn't need to be something that he's made do over and over and over again. Kyler Murray stayed hurt. Now Jaden Daniels is hurt, and Cliff Kingsbury was the offensive coordinator. I'm going to hang up and let you guys talk. I appreciate the show.
Who do you want?
Who do you want? Weekend.
I missed it. Who do you want?
I really don't know who I want, man. I just don't want neither one of them two guys. I'd like to see somebody come in. I'd like to see somebody come in that, innovative play style. We got to stick to the run. Running game is the most important thing. Weapon on offense. If you can't run the ball, you can't. It's hard to move the ball at all. Blaine being on defense, if the team can run the ball, you have to respect the run, and you can't just play just pass. You can't just play straight up for the passing game. And I would like to see somebody. I would just like to see somebody young, somebody with a bright future, somebody with a bright mind come in and take over. Don't really know who it's going to be, but I know I don't want to be one of them two guys.
Appreciate it. Yeah, great.
Yeah, we appreciate it, Drew. Mm-hmm. And I think he makes some really valid points. Mm-hmm. And I will say this, Arthur Smith, out of every offensive coordinator and head coach that has had Justin Fields, we forgot about this. He probably got the best out of Justin Fields.
What he went 4-2 or something?
Yeah, something like that. And Justin Fields put up his best, numbers with Art Smith, but then they went to Russell Wilson, right? I think there were certain limitations with Justin Fields that he could. I'm not saying that Cam Ward has those same limitations, but it kind of feels like we've kind of seen across the way that Justin Fields has certain limitations as an NFL quarterback. But I will say that he did get the best out of Justin Fields.
He did.
But again, I just don't know about the fit right now. Like, it feels like it's just the wrong time and situation for Art Smith here in Tennessee. Like, if Cam Ward was a little bit more developed and you had an established runner and we knew we had a number one wide receiver, like, you don't really have – we talk about not having Derrick Henry. You don't have an A.J. Brown. So not only are you trying to make Cam Ward be whatever year it was for Ryan Tannehill, who had been in the league for quite a long time, you have no potential 2,000-yard rusher every year, no threat to stack the box, and you don't have a number one wide receiver. So, I mean, even with what was going down in Atlanta and Pittsburgh, I mean, for the most part, he had a number one wide receiver, a number one option, or a really good running back. Like, he just doesn't.
Bijan,
just doesn't have it right here.
Well, and like you got to be ready to take a lot of under center snaps and be able to execute play action and stuff like that in the pass game. I don't think Cam's there yet. Not saying he can never get there, but is it the best thing for right now? Not really.
Yeah, for me, it's like he's just an average offensive coordinator. And I think he's an average offensive coordinator because he himself has not evolved as a play caller, as a coordinator. It's the same stuff over and over and over that he keeps running.
So those are the questions you ask Arthur Smith when he comes in. How much have you evolved since the time you left here? And then now, show us.
Right. Like, show us the plays. Show us what. Maybe there are stuff that he wanted to do that he couldn't do, right? Like, maybe there's certain personnel packages and stuff like that he wanted to do that he couldn't do. But whatever the excuse is, he still doesn't find a way to feed his playmakers as often as these offensive coordinators do, which means he's not really creating space or opportunities and all that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know. It's just, again, very average offensive coordinator. You could do a lot worse. But if you're describing a coach as, well, you could do a lot worse,
that ain't the best.
That ain't the best qualifier to use, in my opinion, when you're at such a critical stage of Cam Ward's development.
It just got to a point, too, with the Steelers where it felt like their best offense was in a 2-minute situation when he's not calling the plays.
Right.
So, like, that's not a great thing.
Yeah. Yep.
The quarterbacks love to be able to have that control of everything. So that's telling.
That is telling. Let's go to Jeff in Spring Hill. Jeff, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. Long-time listeners, love the show. But I got a quick question. We talk about offensive coordinators, and I'm going to just throw this out there, just playing devil's advocate. What quarterback makes the best sense for the offensive coordinator, whoever we hire, whether it's King or Barry or Arthur Smith or whoever it might be? Does Cam get pushed if we keep Levis? Does Cam get pushed by Levis to, like, hey, say Kingsbury come in and say, hey, Levis is the better quarterback for what I want to run? So where do we go then, guys? That's what I want to know. I want to hang up and listen, or if Levis still stays on the team.
I mean, that's a good question, to be honest, because, like, if let's just throw it out there. Let's say you do sign Art Smith. Levis feels like a better fit for Art Smith than Cam Ward does. Now, that does not mean that Cam Ward can't do this or that or will look better in camp. Who knows? But there is a real chance that maybe what if Will Levis just adapts better to the Art Smith system than Cam Ward does, or quicker? I don't know if it really creates a quarterback controversy or anything, but heck, I wouldn't rule technically anything out with the new regime. But let's be honest, they've already said that the reason that Robert Saleh got hired is because they were very impressed with the plan he had for Cam Ward. So, again, I'm just going to go back and lean into that and just say whatever the plan was for Cam Ward that he came in and brought, we'll see about Will Levis. I mean, I wouldn't even worry really about the threat of Will Levis.
Yeah, I think the only way that possibly could happen if Cam Ward got injured and Levis, played a handful of games, then there would be a discussion about that. But right now, everything moving forward is Cam Ward.
Yeah.
Regardless of the offense or not.
For me, it's just...
And I do agree with you that Arthur Smith and Levis is...
That would work.
Yeah, that would work.
But I mean, heck, I think we were even talking about on this show that if you're the Titans, when you trade Will Levis to the Steelers, I think we brought that up.
Yeah.
Because Art Smith was there.
And he had, some good games.
Yeah, I mean, like... There are certain things where Will Levis probably fits certain systems better than Cam Ward does. Doesn't mean they can't execute all systems. It just better fits. But at the same time, we got to listen to the words that we are being told. And obviously, I think we've talked about for a couple of times, but I knew back in October that Robert Saleh wanted this gig to be with Cam Ward. I don't know what it is about Cam Ward, where he came across Cam Ward in early October and wanted this gig because of Cam Ward, but that's what I've heard. And so he's had a long time. If that's the case, if that's really true, what I heard, then he's had a long time to put together a plan specifically for Cam Ward and the Tennessee Titans. Because sometimes these guys just put together general plans of what they would do at a head coaching spot, then tweak it. He's had a long time to probably prepare, especially when Brian Callahan got fired, for a Cam Ward specific plan. So I don't know what that plan is. Don't know if that plan will be any good, but he's at least had time to kind of really zero in on that.
Yeah, but that can backfire on you too, because
you get blinders on.
Well, I mean, one of all the coordinators that he wants are taken, or he doesn't get, his top 2 or 3 candidates. Then now where are we going? And then that's why my plan didn't work, and then we have to do something here temporarily, let's say, and see how it goes. And then if not, I'm gonna have to make some more changes after this first year. And then where does that help or hurt Cam Ward in his development?
Right.
It's going to be really interesting. I hope he can execute the plan, but naturally it starts with him getting his coaches. And I would say Dayball is probably at the top.
Right.
And so he's hoping that the Bills, as you mentioned at the beginning of the show, that when that part is over, if they're going to hire him or not, then he should be here on the docket here in Tennessee, signing with the Tennessee Titans.
Well, let me tell you, I don't know why we've got so many phone calls, but we've got a lot of phone calls rolling in. And we also have a poll question up on Twitter at Blaine and Zach. And it is about first-time play callers. Are you totally out on first-time play callers? You can go vote on Twitter at Blaine and Zach and Nat. We'll also ask that question, talk about it if we have time, because right now we got the
Dog, what is
phone
going on
I don't
back
know.
here, man?
We got the phone calls rolling in on a Friday, and we're just going to go straight to the phones.
They already stayed in the house.
Yeah, they're already
man.
in the house.
The
Good.
electricity
That means
went out.
my ride home will be a little bit quicker. Y'all stay in that house. All right, coming up next, we're going to go straight to the phones. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. Tony Oden being kept on as defensive backs coach. We were just talking about that. The entire time Robert Saleh was there, he was his defensive backs coach over there as well. So from 2021, Jets. Sorry, 2021 through 2024. And then, so when they arrived in 2021, that defense in 2021 for the Jets, Tony Oden, Jeff Ulbrich, Robert Saleh, and that whole entire staff, they were the 32nd ranked defense in the NFL by points allowed and yards allowed, both 32nd. It took a year for them to, as a unit, as a coaching staff and a roster turnover, to get to where they were. But in the entire 2021 to 2024 seasons combined, they had the 13th most sacks. They allowed the 8th lowest passer rating and the second lowest or third lowest passing yards. So even though they ranked 32nd that first year as a coaching staff together with those players, it quickly changed the rest of the year, and they still were able to go from 32nd to third or top 15 at most.
I think I remember that because the Titans play up there in New York, I think. If I can recall.
In 21, they played there.
Yeah.
And we
Oh,
lost.
man, their defense, was legit.
Then that was the year they were ranked 36th.
We also played there in 2024 or the 2024 here, I guess.
Yeah.
It was here in 2024 that we played the Jets and Robert Saleh.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it's one of the Levis meltdown games.
The little flip back to
the
Spears.
flip backs and stuff.
I just remember that running back took it to us. And,
Oh, yes, Brees
Braylon
Hall and
Allen.
Braylon Allen, both of them did. All right, let's go to Cousin P. Cousin P, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Cousin P.
Hey, guys. How y'all doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Great.
Hey, I'm pretty good, man. It's been a while. So to kind of speak to your poll real quick before I get to my question, man, I really think that I would rather have somebody seasoned. I'm looking at what I call the Sean McVay effect. He comes in, he's a young guy, he gets an opportunity, and he succeeds. He wins now. So I kind of think that obviously, the NFL is a place of imitation, right? It's gonna try its best to do what other people are doing to find the same success. So I'm starting to see a shift very slowly back to people who have, more experience at the head coaching level, which, I think is fine because I really do believe Sean McVay is one of a few. And I think he's a minority in a lot of the things that he does. But my question is about Mike McDonald. So we saw him get hired by the Chargers as the OC, and then you hear about him getting an interview for the head coaching job with the Bills. So, and help me out here on this one, guys. How is that possible for him to be able to do that? And is the reason for that because he hasn't officially signed with the Chargers, or is it some type of loop around hole that he found within the whole head coaching experience? And then does this also secure him? So if he doesn't get the Bills head coaching job, he knows that he has an OC position with the Chargers, and kind of how does that work, guys? And I'll hang up the
Who was the person you said?
It's Mike McDaniel, is who he said. So I don't know if you saw it today, but Mike McDaniel, obviously it was announced that he was going to be the Chargers offensive coordinator.
Right, okay.
Well, today he's interviewing for the Bills head coaching job.
Right.
So it could be a couple of different things. So I just want to, check something real quick, but just to go off the riff, the announcement was the Chargers plan to hire ex-Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel. Okay, so even if he hasn't signed a contract, he hasn't signed a contract. And the reporting today is that, the Chargers are still going to hire him if he doesn't get the head coaching job at the Bills. But here's the other thing is that even if he signs a contract, you can't stop a promotion in the NFL. And a promotion is a head coach. We haven't really ran into this situation before, but an offensive coordinator, you can't stop a coordinator from interviewing or taking a head coaching job. You can't put a stop to that.
So is it like the Brian Flores thing, except Flores has a contract signed as a fallback with Minnesota?
That's what I was just about to say.
That's what that'd be exactly
any
like that.
elevation, you can't. Yeah, you can sign. You can be put in your contract. Hey, man, if I get an offer, as a head coach, then I get the chance to interview it for that opportunity. So yeah. That's a loop around. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's been.
But that's what it is. It's A, he either hasn't signed it, or B, even if he has signed it, you can't stop a promotion. All right, let's go to Howie in Milwaukee. Howie, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Good to see you.
What's up?
On the screen.
Mhm.
Hey, it is negative 14 degrees here, so I'm feeling all that.
Oh,
cold
in Milwaukee.
you guys are gonna
Ooh.
get. Yeah. So
It's coming this way.
inside. So I want to also kind of ask answer the poll question before my question, if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
And so I would go new OC. Because basically, I think that Cam Ward would really respect a new OC because new OCs, I think, are more risk-taking. And I think I saw a lot of moments with Cam getting frustrated with the OC, even back with Callahan, and wanting to take shots and seeing them be very conservative. And so I think that would go well with Cam Ward, and that a newer OC would be more risk taking. Also, like the Packers Bears game in the playoffs was like the Super Bowl here, and like the coach for the Bears, he was so aggressive in going on fourth down. And I saw that work for him. So I think we will see. My question for you both is, if you could play Mike Bergonzi, that you were Mike Bergonzi, and you were looking to make a blockbuster trade in the season to bring in talent, of FA talent, who would both of you gentlemen bring in that the Titans need? I'll listen.
Ooh, that's an interesting question. Just a blockbuster trade. I think I would go Justin Jefferson. If he's unhappy in Minnesota, which I don't know if he really is or not, but that would be a guy I would definitely entertain bringing in.
Any big time.
Yeah.
Number one receiver,
I mean, this talent needs so much talent.
Okay, since you went off defensive end.
Yeah. Some kind of edge rusher or anything that may be unhappy with his current situation. I would be interested in that as well, for sure. For sure.
Maybe even a cornerback.
Ooh. Yo. There you go, Patrick Surtain. Let's go trade for Patrick Surtain.
Oh, man.
You think fans are scarred by cornerback trades?
Well, to be fair, Patrick, knock on wood, Patrick Surtain doesn't have
an injury.
Yeah.
Well, I'll even just take signing Alante Taylor.
Yeah.
And free agents.
Bring him home. Coffee County's finest.
Coming home.
There you go. Let's go to Larissa. Larissa, you're on Blaine and Zach.
Hi, guys. Hi, everybody. Stay warm.
Yes.
And hopefully the snowmageddon won't happen. I just still keep my fingers crossed. But I get the impression that Salah, he's like 2-3 moves ahead of what people are even thinking and what we're talking about. He reminds me a lot. And Blaine, you're on that wavelength also. The kind of person that you want to sit by, like, what'd you get for answer number 5, when you were in school? Because thinking, and I think that he's already laid out that type of plan. And folks are making money moves. I mean, this is about money. And again, the NFL is a very well-oiled machine. And actually now we got to even consider college and so on and so forth. But I think he is very set on who he's going to interview or who he already has in line for his lineup. And again, no disrespect to Phil Rivers, but I don't know what the Bills are doing. It is literally, the man, I'm sure, is a very lovely human being. But it's the equivalent of saying, okay, I've seen some surgical procedures. I think I'm a surgeon now. Why would you even consider him being a head coach? I mean, it's clown college crap. But I digress. But everybody stay warm.
All right.
All right.
Thank you for taking my call.
No problem. You stay warm as well. I mean, the Phillip Rivers thing is just so fascinating to me because I guess Jordan had mentioned a couple of times before, and I guess I didn't hear him, but that he wouldn't be surprised if he got a coaching cycle, an interview this coaching cycle. I mean, I was a little surprised, but I mean, crazier things have happened. I mean, I know Mike Vrabel had some stuff at Ohio State, but I mean, does Phillip Rivers need to have college or head coaching experience to be good? I would think so. I just find it so odd, but maybe it's to bring him in as a quarterback's coach or something like that.
Yeah, that's the route I was going to go. I was going to say they're trying to assemble a staff, and he could be the offensive coordinator, not necessarily the head coach. and maybe they have someone that they're going to give the head coach title that maybe he's not ready. Maybe like Webb. I don't know.
You never know.
Because they're good friends with Josh Allen. And I saw the picture of Josh Allen interviewing all the coaches and the GM to the left there. So, it could be something of that ilk, or just to get information on how, Grandpa Pa was out there at least getting it done enough for the Colts to be in games. And obviously he doesn't have the talent he had when he first was in the league, or the last time he was in the league. So I think that's where you're kind of having these kind of conversations, and everybody knows he's a sharp guy.
And I guess Phillip Rivers, and the reports I've seen today are Phillip Rivers and Josh Allen are like really tight, really close.
Good friends is what I was saying.
Yeah, good friends. So
I think he did some quarterback school or something with them briefly, and on a conversation and things of that nature. So, yeah, that could be everything that this is about. And all he needed was an opportunity for people to see what he could do as a player, to show that he is pretty much the way he was making checks. And when they when they were having the mic and you could hear him directing the whole entire offense and actually telling the referees to get out of the freaking way while he's up there telling other guys what to do. It was insane. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. So I would put anything past, Mr. Rivers there.
It would be quite wild. If Phillip Rivers gets the head coaching gig, and you do the Tennessee Titans play the Buffalo Bills, you could have Phillip Rivers' kids and Robert Saleh's kids, and you could do 11-on-11 at halftime, flag football.
I thought Saleh has 8.
I've seen 7, I've seen 8, I've seen 9. Someone's going to have to get to the bottom of how many kids he actually has.
Oh.
You know what I love about it, too, is that the Bills just posted their Twitter graphic that they completed an interview with Phillip Rivers, and it's from Week 18 of him on the sidelines looking like a coach. I mean, just bring him on.
He's got big coach aura. I mean, you have to give him that.
Man, I'm a Phillip Rivers fan. I
think it would be fun, and
so
I think there's a good chance it could work.
There are a few players you could do this, and I think he's one of them.
I'm not crazy
to head coach.
So I'm not crazy to put it out there that I think it could work. I wouldn't bet my house on it working or anything, but I kind of think it could work.
With the pieces they already have, they only need a couple more. Yeah, I think so. Well, you got Josh Allen. I think you got it. I'll bet you got a shot, man.
I don't know. I kind of think it could work.
If y'all need some seats filled at that new stadium, he's got plenty of kids, plenty of family to fill those seats.
There you go. I think it could work.
Give us Dayball.
I wouldn't bet money on it, but I think it could work.
All right, that means we didn't get Dayball.
Yes.
I love it.
And that's another reason why I'm. Yeah, that's another reason why I'm pushing for it. Let's go to Matthew in Nashville. Matthew, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Doing good.
I just had a quick question today.
Yeah, all right.
With the number 4 pick in the draft, how much impact will the offensive coordinator hire impact our draft selection, and who will pick first? How much will it determine an offense or defensive player? But I'll let you guys think on it and talk about it, and then I'll listen.
Thanks, Matthew. I think it's tough to answer those questions for me, because I want to lean you got a defensive head coach, you're probably going to get a defensive player, but he's not the one making the decisions ultimately. And I think it really just comes down to what's going to happen in free agency.
It always does.
Yeah,
really.
I mean, I do think that if you're drafting an offensive player, I'll say this. If you're drafting an offensive player near the Tennessee Titans at number 4, it's obviously, to me, Jeremiah Love or Jordan Tyson. Okay, those are the only 2 guys I would entertain as being talented enough at number 4. If it's defensive, you got Reese, you got Bain, and you got David Bailey. All 3 of those guys have their pros, cons, and fits in this scheme. So I think it really comes down to it's a 5-horse race currently for this team, and that's a lot of good options to have at number 4. I'll be honest, because most of those guys will be there more than likely at 4.
Yeah, I think it's an organizational decision. It's never about who you hire as the coach, because it's the needs and wants of the team, and based off of free agency, with also what's the strength of the draft being your number 4.
Yeah.
And all those guys you mentioned are definitely qualified for that. I think they can win either way, going any direction. There's always a chance, though, as far as at the number 4, that sometimes the running back gets off the list unless you believe he can be special.
And to be honest,
that high.
The Tennessee Titans have a lot of money, and Breece Hall is a free agent. Breece Hall played with Robert Saleh for most of his career.
Yeah.
And that's an easy connection to make. I know it's a very lazy connection to make, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it won't happen. Doesn't necessarily mean it will happen. So if you get Breece Hall, you're probably not drafting Jeremiah Love, right? That's how, just an example of how free agency can affect the draft. Just to put that out.
How did Breece Hall do last year? If you were just guessing, like, was he 1,000 yards?
I think he got 1,000 yards, right? Did he just fall short? I mean, they were out of a lot of games fairly early, so I don't know how much they were actually running the ball.
That is.
Yeah, so.
Because here's what I'm getting at. Could you pass on a running back and even sign in a running back? These are the things that are talked about here when you're weighing out your decision.
He did get 1,000
Or
yards.
can you continue one more year with Pollard? Is he that much more better than Pollard? Or do you think, we can get by with Pollard for this one more year and that won't become a priority this year in the offseason, whether free agency or draft?
Because you still have Tony Pollard on the last year of his contract, to your point. Right. You also have Tajay Spears on his contract. You really don't have to invest if the offensive coordinator or the offensive scheme feels like, well, these guys could do it because...
Unless he's special. You like,
unless he's
man,
special.
This guy's going to be insane, like Bejan or who all those guys.
I do think Breece Hall is pretty special.
I mean,
he's my opinion.
I mean, he's special, but can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
Tony Pollard's better in all the stats.
See? And all you stat guys.
And let me say something.
He's better than him.
Yeah.
You said that to me or the stats guys?
No, I said the stat guy.
I mean, this was the Jets, Breece Hall's first 1,000-yard season in his career.
Because didn't he tear his ACL?
He struggled with some injuries.
And
Tony Pollard's been very durable. Okay, 243 rush attempts for Breece Hall, 242 rush attempts for Tony Pollard this season. Tony Pollard averaged 4.5 yards per carry. Breece Hall, 4.4. 4 touchdowns for Breece Hall, 5 touchdowns for Tony Pollard. I'm just saying, like,
it looks like
you're
even
got a
on
good
paper,
point, right? Like, I mean, so
That's
if you
what I'm
keep
saying.
Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears,
you want to make that a priority when you have all these other holes, and we got a guy at least on paper. One's probably a little older than the other.
Yeah,
and I would say Breece Hall's probably a little bit better. Regardless,
no, it's not like a huge gap or anything.
Right,
but
exactly. So that's how you make these decisions.
Is it a $20 million gap essentially? Is what you're probably going to be paying?
Well, he's younger.
Yeah, he's younger. But in the other instance, you can always find that guy next year in the draft where you've filled up a lot of other holes as well. And to your point, keeping Tony Pollard also probably signals you're probably not going Jeremiah Love in the first round. Right. So, again, free agency, whether you're keeping Tony Pollard or signing Breece Hall or doing whatever in free agency, that's the ramifications of what happens in the draft. So it's just a little too early.
Unless Bergonzi pulls off some magic, trades Pollard to the Chiefs. And then,
there you go.
See, I'm putting ideas out there.
Tony Pollard to the Chiefs would be pretty good.
The Chiefs would feel like they won, right? And then you draft or sign one of those two guys that you guys mentioned.
But it's like
we kept saying, this was one of the few shows that kept saying Tony Pollard is not the issue at the beginning of the year. And he showed you as the offensive line got healthier and better, and they stayed dedicated to the run. He's a legit starting running back in the NFL. I just never have understood that whole
that's all I was going to say is y'all hit the nail on the head, too. It's about positions of need. Is running back high on that list right now? No, it is not.
No, not really. Now, I mean, again, you have all this money to spend, though. But, I mean, again, you don't, just because you have it, doesn't mean you have to spend it.
So I'll make him in like, hey, man, Breece Hall is the real deal.
Hey, or maybe he's like, hey, I like Brian Robinson, too, who's just at the 49ers, and he had a little bit over there as well. And listen, we could get Brian Robinson for $5 million, or we can get Breece Hall for like $20 million. Like, well, let's weigh our options here. All right. When we come back, we're going to go to Bear and Titanomics. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Well, one of my New Year's resolution is to, get some of those LBs off the midsection after all that holiday partying. And the approach to weight loss with Edge Peptide and hormone therapy is a little bit different. We make sure all the patients have extensive lab work and face-to-face conversations in office with our nurse practitioner to create a customized treatment plan tailored to your specific needs. They use only U.S.-based FDA-audited compounding pharmacies because knowing where your peptides come from always matters. You also get to enjoy access to their in-body scanner and track weight loss and make sure you're maintaining that muscle mass that you have accumulated. As well as Edge always uses the lowest effective dosage to make sure that you are resetting your metabolic flexibility, not starving yourself like some people try to do. You also get to lower your A1C, keeping your cravings in check, prioritizing protein, and having someone guide your journey from start to finish. So call the team at Edge Peptide for all your wellness questions at 615-724-1878. That's 724-1878 or online at edgepeptide.com.
Cover 2. Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. All right, let's go out to the phones. Go to Titanomics. Titanomics, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
What's up, gentlemen? Look, I am taking a look at this comeback player of the year finalist, and Stephon Diggs, Aiden Hutchinson, Trevor Lawrence, Christian McCaffrey, and Dak Prescott. I probably am complaining about this because the only person in the league that I hate, and I know it's a strong word, is Trevor Lawrence, and he's on this list. But I feel like they need to change it up, man, because I think they just changed it up in 2024. They switched the comeback player of the year from, I guess, deserving, like Tannehill was, to people who come back from, like, minor injuries, like Trevor Lawrence. I mean, I think he had surgery in December last year.
Yeah, how many games did he miss? I don't recall that. I mean, he missed just the end of the season. I know.
It wasn't a lot if he had surgery in December. But as far as and I say last year, but the previous year, but I think they should have put Rivers in that conversation. Definitely not for coach for the Bills, but he would have been comeback player to me. And then if he would have made the playoffs even, let's just say if he would have even made the playoffs, he still wouldn't have been able to be picked because they stopped the AP voting for comeback player of the year before the season ends. So before the playoffs starts. So that's wild to me. And I know I'm complaining, but I feel like this should be switched up again.
Thanks. So
who do you think should outside
okay.
of
sorry.
Yeah, that's all right.
He missed the last 7 games of the season. Trevor Lawrence did.
And do we know the requirements?
Yeah, so the requirements are the core requirements post 2024, so after last year. The AP narrowed the criteria to focus heavily on players overcoming injury or illness that caused them to miss games, moving away from recognizing players who simply had a poor previous season, so poor performance season. So just if you miss a few games, I guess you could just, make the comeback player of the year.
I still don't see how it's not Hutchinson or Diggs winning that award.
Yeah, I would assume Hutchinson, right?
Did Diggs get 1,000?
I think I had Aiden Hutchinson as was that my defensive player of the year? I still got to find those. I don't know where that's at.
I think you had it. But did Diggs get 1,000 this year? Because if he did, then it's a discussion. If he didn't, Hutchinson had 12 sacks or so off of.
Who else did the caller say? I agree with all that.
He was saying Trevor Lawrence, those two, and somebody else.
Stephon Diggs had 1,013 yards.
Right. Diggs, Hutchinson. I thought it was another defensive guy he said on that call. But, yeah, it's hard to go against Hutchinson and Diggs. Diggs tore his ACL. I think he was week 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott's the other one.
Oh, Dak Prescott.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's who it was. Yeah, good one.
I don't know. Dak Prescott makes a pretty good case.
Lawrence is last to me, and I'm not trying to be biased at all.
Yes, I agree.
Even if you were biased, that's fine on the show.
Come on, yeah.
I'm just saying if you were, it's not going to be, for me. But I would definitely be.
Oh, he said McCaffrey as well, right? No?
McCaffrey's in every award except defense.
Oh, he is in this award because didn't I see something he's the first guy to be in the MVP finalist and comeback player of the year finalist?
I think it was 3 overall. In 3 categories. He's in offense, too.
Oh, is he in offense? There's something crazy like that.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Bear in Springfield. Bear, you're on Blaine and Zach.
The Bear.
Man, Professor. Yeah, man. A few things. Just bear with me. You got this.
I like it. I like it. I like a good pun.
You didn't even try that.
But, I just, man, I had a lot of stuff in my head. As far as the experienced OC, young guy, you can get a young guy as long as he called plays for a couple of years. Mm-hmm. And I just, more importantly, I want my position coaches to, they have experience. I want some old salty dudes coaching the positions. That's what I want. Mm-hmm. And congratulations to Solid. I ain't got to talk to y'all about that. He wasn't my first choice, but I'm glad it wasn't Nagy, so I'll take it. And as far as when y'all said earlier about the trades, I say I would trade for an edge rusher, maybe Max Crosby if I could.
Ooh,
because
that's a good one.
Yeah, right. Because even though don't get me wrong, I love Justin Jefferson, but a position like his depends on the quarterback and the offensive line. And DBs, not DBs, but corners in particular. They usually don't be consistent over long periods of time. Mm-hmm. And our issues with corners, they up and down. So I just stick with drafting the guy on that one. And I just wanted to ask Hitman, really any of y'all, what is a pet peeve, if y'all could talk about that real quick, of today's players, not even just today's players, just overall players. And I just give y'all mine, for example. I hate when a receiver or running back catch a 2-yard hitch, and then he turned and face up with the defender, and the defender, instead of breaking down and trying to wrap him up or funnel him to the sideline, he'll dive at him. The guy, of course, he's going to miss because the guy looking right at him, and then the guy run for 10 yards. I hate that. So that's all I got, guys, to tighten up.
I appreciate it, Bear.
I got a pet peeve.
You got what's your pet peeve,
when
Ross?
DBs be getting smoked and the quarterback misses the throw and they do like the no fly zone, whatever, finger wagging and all that.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's
Blaine
a good pet
Blaine looks
peeve.
like he might have done that one or two.
Oh, no, I never did that. I was a guy going like it's whoo.
One of the good ones.
I was never like, oh my God, man, he had me by a step. Oh my gosh.
Oh man, I that would rank pretty high for me up on pet peeve. I don't know. I don't know. I think that would be mine too.
What he said?
Yeah, what he said. Because I always, whenever I see it, I'm just like, what is this guy doing?
Just a pet peeve of mine is somewhat similar, but they're not using a sideline as a man. But mine is like losing contain.
Mm-hmm.
You see all your teammates
Yeah.
right inside. And to me, I call this selfish when I played. And you want to make a hero ball play and go in there and say, I'm going to just blast him. Don't wrap up. Oh, that's a big one with me.
Yeah,
no wrapping up. And then he bounces outside where you're supposed to be. Because every play isn't your play to make.
Yeah.
You're supposed to push him
good.
inside. So those are the ones when I'm watching, I just like, oh, man, that guy wasn't even supposed to get out there.
Yeah.
You ever try to go play hero ball and think you're going to make some big old hit and then don't wrap up?
That's a pretty good one. Yeah. Fundamentals.
It's just fundamental football.
All right. We got to pick our conference championships here.
Oh, that's right. We got to get paid.
I only have I was 7-0. I squandered that lead. I only have a 1-game lead right now on you both.
On both of us or just me?
Both of it. You both are 7-4. I'm 8-3 because I only got one right last week. You guys got two right. You went 2-2 apiece. Mm-hmm. Patriots at Broncos. No Harold Landry for the Patriots. Will Campbell has been beaten like a drum this entire postseason. I am going to go with the Broncos. Even with Jarrett Stidham, I'm going to go with I believe in Sean Payton, and I believe in the defense, and I believe in Mile High Stadium advantage. I am going Broncos over the Patriots.
I'll go Patriots. Taking the Patriots.
Man, I am so conflicted on this one. I really want to see Stidham play really well because I believe he would, and I think Sean Payton has the mentality that we're going to go out here and we're going to throw it around the yard, and it doesn't matter who's our quarterback. And with that defense and that kind of mentality, like you have nothing to lose, man. That's tough, man. Against Vrabel on the road.
It is tough. It's a tough pick.
Drake May, in the playoffs, his passing percentage has dropped drastically and his turnover ratio. So I'm going to go Broncos because of that.
I think that's a good thing. Rams at Seahawks. It's very hard for me to go against the Seahawks. They feel like a wagon. They are just on one this entire postseason, and they were on one to end the year. But then I look across the way, and I look at the quarterbacks, and I look at the head coach, and I look at Matt Stafford versus Sam Darnold, and I look at Sean Payton versus Mike McDonald. And I don't think Sam Darnold or Mike McDonald are any slouches. But there's something about Sean McVay and Matt Stafford that I feel like that is the edge. Puka Nacua is going crazy in these playoffs. I also think they have the run game, the defense. I feel like they're playing complementary football. I think I'm going to go with the Rams on this one, but I do not feel great about this pick.
I'm going Rams as well. And just the only thing I'll add is Jordan gave a lot of good points in the first hour of the show. Talked about last game when they, put up a lot of points. They didn't have Devontae Adams, so like them having him back for the playoffs in this rematch.
I love me some Devontae, but I'm going Seahawks.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going with my guy, Sam Darnold, rewriting his own book and put an exclamation point right there at the end.
There you go. I like it.
Beating the great Matthew Stafford.
I mean, those Seahawks have been on a tear. It's hard to. They're hhot. They're hot.
They got to stop Puka Nacua from catching those dig routes, man. They running daggers from all different formations. I want to watch film. I'm like, but Puka Nacua's open all the time.
All the time.
I'm like, no. They need to identify formations and understand what they're trying to accomplish.
And if anybody could do that, it's Mike McDonald.
They did in the first, these other two games, he went off.
Yeah.
And what, Broncos-Rams is the only unique Super Bowl we could have in the modern era, at least? All these others would be rematches.
They would be rematches. Broncos and Seahawks. No, wait a minute. Broncos-Seahawks have played twice.
I said Broncos Rams.
Oh, you said Broncos Rams.
That'd be the unique one.
Sorry. I was thinking, well, like what? Yeah, Broncos and Rams would be unique.
Lastly, real quick on our poll today, 76% voted experienced OC.
We didn't really get to talk about it,
24% voted
but
new.
I do lean experienced OC, but I don't think it's that big of a deal if you went inexperienced OC. That's just me. I don't think it's a huge deal or anything killer.
Oh, I put the coach on notice.
Yeah, that would definitely be
you would have to probably make a change after the first year if it doesn't work.
Yeah.
If it looks anywhere similar as far as the same thing that was going on, but nope.
Yeah.
You have to let that guy go.
All right, that will do it
there.
for us. This is Cover 2. Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons. Y'all stay safe out there this weekend, and in the meantime.
And in between time, Ross.
Peace.